John Grin joined.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Forever Conscious Research Channel. So, before we get started, just want to say that this channel is for educational purposes only. And there's a few more disclaimers that we need to go over. So, try to do that now. Okay, so, be a moment here. Forever Conscious Research Channel, Forever Conscious Research, OverWatch Channel, OverWatch Project, OverWatchProject.com, and guests on panel are not a doctor, physician, nurse, physician's assistant, advanced practice nurse, or any medical professional, medical provider, psychiatrist, psychologist, therapist, or counselor. Forever Conscious Research Channel, Forever Conscious Research, OverWatch Channel, OverWatch Project, OverWatchProject.com are not providing healthcare, medical, or nutritional therapy services or attempting to diagnose, treat, prevent, or cure any physical, mental, or emotional issue, disease, or condition. The information provided in this video and social media sites and anything related to this is for educational purposes only and does not substitute professional medical advice. Please consult a medical professional or healthcare provider if you're seeking medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. We are not liable for risks or issues associated with using or acting upon the information discussed in this video, website, or social media accounts. So, now that that's out of the way, I hope you're all doing well on this Saturday or whenever you may be watching it. And so today's topic is going to be mental health, the awakening process, and the soul trap. So it's a topic I think it's important. I have gone over it in the past in a video, and you know, I think because there's so many new subscribers that have come along the way since that last video that, you know, talking about this is important. And everyone kind of comes at this information at different times, and it could be a little paradigm crushing. So I'd like to kind of just invite Dan on, because Dan was agreed to join, and I'm looking forward to sitting down with him. And also we'll have a guest panel as well, and kind of have some talks and interact with the live chat, and we'll do a Q&A if any of you have any questions, or maybe you have suggestions for others listening in the chat. So anyways, welcome, Dan. It's great to have you with us. How you doing, man?
Hey, Mark. Thanks for having me on again.
You may be muted, Dan.
Oops. No, I shouldn't be. Hello?
Oop.
Hello?
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Wait a minute. Seems like there's some other audio coming in. Hold on. Don't hear Dan.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Okay. You hear him.
Technically.
Shit, I don't hear him.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. I'm sorry, guys.
Hi, everybody. Always technical problems.
Okay, now I can hear him. Okay, sorry about that, guys. Anyways, welcome, Dan. I don't know what you said, but welcome.
I said, thanks for having me on again.
Thank you. It's always great to have you, man. So yeah, I'm sure you get messages like this, individuals having difficult time with this information, asking how, you get through it, and sometimes even, some things that are a little bit concerning, to say the least. So, I mean, how have you handled those, and how do you kind of go about your day to day? Anything you kind of want to start off the stream with?
Sure. Well, I don't really get too many negative comments. Actually, I was kind of surprised by that. Either people don't comment. Sometimes I may miss the comments. I don't always get notified when somebody puts a comment on YouTube. I get these notifications on, because I have it turned on, but there seems to be a lot more comments than I am told about. So sometimes I just don't see the comment and it gets drowned out below a barrage of other comments, and I never noticed it.
Sure.
I don't know what causes that. I don't seem to get any notification at all from Odysee, and occasionally I'll get notifications from BitChute.
Okay.
And those are the only ways I see comments anyway. Sometimes I'll get, I seem to attract more religious comments, like this is the only way to salvation comments. Occasionally I'll see more of those than anything else. And then I see a lot of positive comments. Lots of people thanking me or thanking you. Actually, sometimes they'll say they find me through your channel, and
Vice versa, same thing. Yeah.
And thanks for this is what I've been thinking, but I didn't know there were other people out there that was doing this research. I've been watching your video. By the way, before I forget, I have to post a video on my channel soon about my old videos. So I went back and watched some of them because occasionally people will leave comments on a video I made like 7 years ago. And I was shocked to find out how much brainwashing I was still influenced by. It's really cringe.
Yeah, that's that. I think that just comes with the territory, right? It shows your evolution. I mean, so I think it's natural. But I hear you on the cringe thing. I deleted a lot of my older videos.
Yeah, well, I went through Catholic school from basically preschool to the end of high school. And when I started my channel, I wasn't even thinking it would lead to where it's led. I didn't even know anything about these kind of philosophies. It's basically, I came up with it on my own as I was doing research, and then I went and looked to see if anything else appeared like that in history. Stumbled onto the Gnostics, and then I stumbled onto Carlos Castaneda, Robert Monroe, and so forth. And I'm like, oh, so other people have discovered this concept of a reincarnation soul trap, or, the stuff that we talk about. And when I listen to my really old videos, I'm still trying to finagle this religitard brainwashing in with what I was discovering. And that's why I say it's about the totality of the information, doing a investigation without using cognitive dissonance to try to prop up things that you or I or other people may have been brainwashed with, programmed with, not through even nefarious means. People just pass on the programming.
Absolutely.
They or believe this because that's what they've been brainwashed with, and they peddle it on to the next generation. And as far as my opinion about mental health, when you decide to incarnate as a human, when you agree to incarnate as a human, basically you're agreeing to some form of handicap on your consciousness to one degree or another. And some people have great handicaps on it. Other people have lesser handicaps. They may be decided by the astrology of when you're born, and then other factors that you pick up along the way. And then we're all kind of mentally, affected to one degree or another.
Absolutely. No, really well said. The intergenerational indoctrination is massive, and then it continues to be peddled, or there's new concepts that are introduced in things like school or church and all this stuff. So yeah, it can really do a number on us. And then it makes the awakening process even more difficult because you have so many paradigms crushed along the way. And just when you start to think you're getting it, more things unravel and you go through another paradigm shift. It's amazing how many layers there are to kind of waking up and unindoctrinating yourself.
Yeah, the indoctrination process that you have to do yourself is quite massive, but it's an empower. See, I always saw it as an empowering thing. Once I realized more and more that getting out of here was as simple as understanding how the system works, and when the time is up, that you simply use your simple intention to get out of here. It's very empowering. It's like this game of life is like makes itself, it disguises itself as a very complicated problem to solve.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like a paper tiger. It's really not complicated. It's really simple. You just decide that you're not participating anymore. And that's
it's really empowering. It's awesome. That's the beauty of coming to the realization of your own power. Like being able to feel like confidence that's unrelenting, that nothing is going to stop you.
Right. You are. It is. I lost my train of thought there for a second.
No
See,
worries.
Matrix.
Happens to me all the time, man.
Matrix interference.
Yeah.
You are. The more you can hang around here till the clock runs out, the more you can deprogram yourself, because you don't know. There could be like hidden little things in your innermost subconscious, and you want to make sure that you really beat all that out of your mental picture of everything. Mm-hmm. I don't see why people get all freaked out. To me, I don't understand why having a really bad worldview, a really bad cosmology based on all this. That's right. I was going to say this. All the official cosmologies that they want to push on you, cosmology meaning the model of reality that everybody has their own unique model reality that's been influenced by other people, and then they're all like trying to push this "you need to be saved" message. You need to do this, that, and the other thing. You need to wait for salvation. Whatever it is you're pushing, it's always like some external force has to help you out. And anything that even suggests that you can just help yourself is always like, for lack of a better word, demonized or, cast as some kind of evil thing.
Yeah, that's it. That's the Matrix in a nutshell. It's all about getting us to, always be looking outside ourselves, reliant on something outside ourselves. It's like the master playbook of this realm. That should be a massive red flag in and of itself.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a pattern. It repackages itself in thousands of different ways. And maybe it's through my, past background as an investigator. I kind of strip away all the irrelevant nonsense and just look for the patterns, the core of something. The core is always the same. It rebrands itself as some different philosophy, different religion. And then it tells you that this is the only truth, or this is the only way. This is the absolute truth. Honestly, me and you, Mark, we don't know the absolute truth. We just know, because we're existing in this mental fog of being human, but we know enough that we can break through a lot of the BS, and then you can piece together like the elements of the truth.
Yeah, that's really it, right? I mean, it's and I don't think any of us, Wayne, Bush, Julie, you, me, none of us claim to have all the answers. And anyone that does claim to have all the answers, you should really be skeptical of anyone that makes such claims, because it's impossible to know. I mean, if seeking truth has taught me anything, it's that there's just no way to have all the answers, obtain them while here in a physical body. It's designed for us not to. So and that's another crappy part.
Yeah, if you ever watch like the typical detective or murder mystery show, you have like always that plot point where the confession comes from finally after you piece together what happened. But unfortunately, in this reality, the Matrix is never going to confess. Sorry, you got me. This is a reincarnation salt trap. This is how you get out. It's never going to tell you out in the open. But it left enough evidence so you know what's going on. You can piece it all together. I'm looking at the comments. Looks like the sound sounds good.
Yeah, I was just double checking, because sometimes, my mic might be higher or lower, yours might be higher or lower. So I can't stand messed up audio levels. So I just always ask the audience to let me know. So.
Yeah. I've seen a few videos from that were on YouTube. I was watching some yesterday, and there was like microphone on microphone, or they were like speaking simultaneously, like a recording was playing at the same. It was really annoying.
Yeah, that's can't handle that type of stuff.
So what's up with you, Mark? Anything new?
Not too much, man. It's another week. I had I've been dealing with like that tremendous pain in my. It's getting better though. It's I fell asleep or I've pulled my shoulder, neck, and kind of middle upper back, I guess, really bad, and so I had to shell out money for 3 massages this week and a chiropractor, and I'm finally doing a little better, but it was a rough week, really rough week, but I'm doing better. So
the really bad design of the human body, whoever made it,
a joke, total joke.
For the container of consciousness. It seems like gravity is a little bit heavy for the way we're designed here, and you always have spinal problems. if you're standing too long. There's no other creature unless we tampered with it. There's no other creature on Earth that has all these thousands of problems, physical problems. Almost as if maybe it wasn't a bad design. Maybe it was designed that way to add additional suffering to the human condition for more louche production.
Yeah, I'm convinced of it. That's I think you're spot on with that. Yeah, it's a total joke. Total joke. So, how do you with your day to day? Kind of coming to the realization of the deception going on here, and everything to do with the soul trap and with your awakening process. I guess, can you tell me how you initially dealt with it when you were deconstructing your religious programming, and maybe some things that helped you along the way as you continued to gain more and more gnosis? Any tips you can leave the audience?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I do remember the first. I don't remember how. It must have been 7 years ago, maybe 6 years ago. I remember even before that. I think I remember having little thoughts like, what if the way I think about the world is all like backward or inverted? What if even? But I see now. There's a lot of people that can't relate to some of my experiences. I was, 8 years old in religion class in Catholic school, and I was the kid driving the religious teacher insane because I was pointing out dilemmas with what they were telling. And that's very unusual. I remember my parents would have, back in a time where you only had antenna reception television, and you had basically three main channels: ABC, CBS, and NBC were the three big ones. And then you had those UHF stations, but there was basically nothing to watch unless it was on TV and it was live. And of course, in the evening around dinner time, it was just always the news. And I just remember having this internal, really negative feel. I remember Dan Rather would be on CBS News, and I just remember feeling like that guy is BSing me about everything he's saying.
Oh man, and you know his background, right?
Not really. I just remember that there was a big joke about, I don't know if it was in the 90s when he was assaulted, and then he would end his newscasts with courage, and then everybody's making fun of that, and then he had to stop saying that. I mean, but I just remember watching him having this internal I don't know, it was I don't know. See, I don't know where that's coming.
Knowing, man.
Is it coming from my total consciousness that somehow was overriding the brain, which is a reducing valve for consciousness?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'd been here too many times.
That's my kind of thought on it. It's like you're able to see through it a lot easier, probably because you've been here. You've been through the rodeo a number of times, so you're more able to dissect and expose the BS, whether consciously or subconsciously.
Yeah, it's definitely from the subconscious. So where that was come from, maybe is a master record somehow of all lifetimes, and you're just get a sensation. Plus, I really believe the astrology thing has something to do with it. You are either helped or sabotaged severely by whatever moment you happen to be born in.
Yeah, really well said on that one.
It's some kind of imprint. I don't know exactly how it works, but those Vedic astrologers, those ones that practice those Eastern astrology, which seems to be way more accurate than the Western version, they if they know what they're doing, they can pull out. It's not about prediction of anything. It's more like they're able to read what traits you've been imprinted with. And of course, you can override them, but you're going to have these traits. And I guess astrology is great at helping you understand these things you've been imprinted with, so that once you are aware of them, you can, I think your consciousness is quite capable of overriding them. So if they're sabotaging you, you can kind of hack them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, really well said. I completely agree. Yeah, it's no, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Anything?
No, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to just add, I was thinking when you mentioned Dan Rather's name, he came to existence in the Matrix as a controller, as or at least a hired controller. He basically was sat down like the day, you know, JFK, the assassination, you know, apparently occurred with all that. He found what's his name? The guy who took the video. God, his name. Zapruder. Yeah, the Zapruder film. You know, which is, you know, that's all questionable in itself, and you know, he's high-ranking Mason and all that stuff. Anyways, he was at a lawyer's office representing his local station. He was pretty much a no-name. And then I believe Life magazine was present too. So you have, you know, two of the most noble representatives trying to fight over this video. Anyways, his career was catapulted from that day forward. So it literally goes back to that moment, that day. And he was, you know, hoisted onto the world stage as a result of him being involved with all that. And then there's a bunch of other sketchy things with him, but, you know, we don't want to derail too much off the topic. But, yeah, he's a piece of work. Real piece of work.
I think they all are. And it's amazing, though, how, I don't know, wittingly or unwittingly, there comes a time where if they're no longer useful, or they're useful for some negative purpose, then they literally get thrown under the bus. I mean, the whole thing with the whole thing is that, you know, a long time ago, I used to believe there's actually like, oh, we have this choice or that choice. And when I was like thinking like that decades ago, where I started thinking both sides are the same in the political world. But he was, you know, at some point, it was, I guess, he was useful to be destroyed over that memo back in the Bush era. I don't know if you remember that, with the whole.
Which one was that?
It was during the election. I don't remember if it was the first election or the re-election of the W. Bush president, that he had some memo. And it was the first time. That's where the term pajama media came from.
Oh.
It was people at home. I guess in that time period, there was just enough internet that people were able to spread ideas beyond what the media was controlling. And that's when they lost control of it, because they had this memo, something about the National Guard. I don't remember all the details. It was trying to make Bush look bad, as if he needed a memo for that. I mean, they're all crooks as far as I'm concerned, both sides. But the I guess I think some PC guy, computer guy, was sitting home watching the news broadcast, and you know, he's looking at the video, and they're showing a picture on the TV of this supposed memo written in the 1960s, and he immediately recognizes that it's not typewriter. It is new. It's one of the Courier fonts. It was a font from Microsoft. And that got posted on either a bulletin board or something. I forget what social media was around back then, but it went around quickly. And other people started looking at it like, oh, yeah, that's such and such a font. That's not a typewriter. And then, I mean, this was something that, if news was legit, they would have caught
They
that.
would have caught it instantly. Yeah.
In the editing room. They can't tell me there was nobody at CBS that looked at that and said
didn't know.
That's not a typewriter. That's a computer printout of a font that tries to look like a typewriter.
Crazy.
And that was the end of his career, supposedly. I'm sure he got paid off.
Well, like even what was it? I mean, I don't want to trail off too much off topic, but one that always stuck out was Brian Williams, right? He faked that he was under gunfire or something in the Iraq War or Afghanistan War, completely BS'd, got caught out. And because he's such a valuable asset to MSDNC, they basically put him on paid leave for 6 months and then brought him back. And he's been back ever since, flinging BS.
Yeah, here's the weird part. The weird part about all this isn't all these little details that we're going over. The weird part is the reaction of the general population. Back when certain things would happen, there would be a massive attention from the general population. And now we live in an era, and maybe you can explain this to me.
I'll try.
We live in an era where supposedly the government, for whatever reason, probably some nefarious reason, obviously, they've decided that they were going to now tell everybody, hey, guess what? The aliens are real. We have bodies. We got crashed UFOs. We got all this stuff. And openly talking about it under oath, supposedly, and in front of Congress, they just have news conferences. They throw all this stuff out there. And whether or not it's part of something that they're doing or not, that's not what's fascinating to me. What's fascinating to me is that nobody really seems to care.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like that I hear you, man. It's one of the things when it comes to that is it really begs the question about the whole NPC thing, and I don't like to get too crazy on that one because again, there's no way to know who and what are NPCs, and when we talk about NPCs, I want to be very clear. I'm talking about those who lack essence. They do not have any. They're just an automaton. Okay, versus those who may be asleep but still have an essence and eventually wake up, or not at all and just be lost in this particular incarnation. So it really would make sense that we're dealing with a decent portion of the population being NPCs, because nothing is questioned. Nothing happens. Nothing changes. To be in 2023 and humanity not get its shit together already is just mind blowing to me. It makes no sense how this can go on and on and on for eons and nothing ever changes. So, no. I mean, I really think the NPC issue is something to be taken under serious consideration.
Yeah, it's the thing is that I don't get the what the control mechanism is, because if you had come, if officials, because it's all about that perception that people have of this sort of like belief and reaction to authority. Like it's something that most people are still plagued with. So when they're told to do something, as long as they perceive, this is how the system, I guess, conditions you, so that when you enter the afterlife, once you are constantly conditioned to respond to authority, when you perceive something in the afterlife that seems to have authority, you just kind of go along with it, right? All these NDEs that you have, gone over, in great detail, there's a consistent pattern with that, right? People enter the afterlife in a near-death experience. They see some shiny being. Oh, he's emitting light. It was God. I knew it was this. I knew it was that. And then this whole perception that, somehow, I think, obviously, that whole thing about trying to tell people you can't lie to somebody in the afterlife is nonsense.
Completely
It's nonsense.
ridiculous. And that's a big New Age talking point. Massive.
Yeah, of course, you can still deceive. Deception is something that I think is universal, no matter what state you're in. And of course, you can override that. You can, if you're aware of it, but most people aren't even aware. They just assume that, oh, it's appearing as if this is some kind of deity. They have showered me with these good feelings. I mean, for crying out loud, this stuff happens in real life on Earth.
Exactly.
How many con men and women, how many con artists have been able to seduce, make people feel like they're being loved, like this person can be trusted, this person is everything I think they are, only later to find out. We have documentaries about this kind of stuff when it happens, when it's big enough.
They take everything.
Movies, it's plot lines in criminal in movies based on crime. Some of them are based on true stories. You can't tell me that same kind of thing can't happen in the out-of-body state when somebody's basically seducing, emitting love, making you feel a certain way. This whole thing that you describe as that love bomb, it's just making you feel a certain way.
Yep.
And then you're easily to be manipulated. But it all boils down also to that whole perception of authority. And then you have the thing with the this whole UFO thing that's been coming out now lately. It's very strange because if people they believed had authority in the 1990s come out and tell all this stuff, there'd be people running around the streets. Oh my God, aliens!
Yeah, the whole UFO thing is ridiculous. It's so absurd what's going on with that.
Yes, but the reaction, like, why? See, to me, it's like a mystery. Why is there no reaction? Why does it seem to be like, oh yeah, aliens and nothing? Like there's no. I don't understand that. Like, it's not like. It's. I don't know. It's bizarre. Is it because they're just casually telling people, in kind of like a matter of fact way? If you ever watch any of these hearings, they're just kind of casually saying it, like, tomorrow's going to be sunny. Oh, and by the way, we have alien bodies. I mean, they seem to be reporting it as if they're reporting the weather sometimes. It doesn't seem to be a big deal. There's a guy behind a desk and a microphone, and some congressperson's asking them questions, and they're just casually answering. They use these kind of weird terms, I noticed, like, we've recovered biologics.
Oh, yeah, we recovered biologics. Yeah, they love those little terms. And then you got to love how they changed, like, from UFO to UAP and all these little, like, words that they like to put out there.
Sure, like the weather service is suddenly using cyclone bomb.
Oh,
and
yeah, right? That's a good one. Yeah,
see, I can't help but notice that stuff from my childhood on. When somebody would try to peddle something, it's maybe my astrology or something, but I would immediately notice that they just changed something, and like but they do it like as if like the terms always existed. Like this realm, this Earth incarnation realm, is very bizarre. You want to talk about mental health? It's, to me, in my opinion, this whole place is crazy.
I'm with you.
It's just crazy.
Yeah, something I wanted to talk about was, you're kind of asking, oh, like, why isn't there a reaction? I really, really think that, if I put the NPC thing aside, I think a lot of it has to do with the decline in attention span over the years. And that's like kind of a video in and of itself. But I'm going to drop this chart here. I know this is, there's have been things proven about this, but actually I have to put it up in here for you guys because you won't be able to see it, Dan. But let me do this. Okay, so come on. Hopefully you can see this. Oh shit, you can't. All right.
No, don't see anything.
No, I know. I'm sorry. Hold on.
No, wait. Hold on.
No, it's not
Put it on
there.
me.
Okay. Here, I'll do it this way. Okay, window. All right. Hopefully.
I see something.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna pop.
Oh, there it
Okay,
is.
so like attention span, right?
Yeah.
But this is old. So, in 2000 it was 12 seconds. And 2015 8.25 seconds. From what I remember hearing like a few years ago, it's somewhere like around the 3 or 4 second mark now. And, don't quote me on that, but
I think it's 6. 6 seconds.
Oh, 6
I
seconds?
I believe so because they purposely time some YouTube ads down to 6 seconds.
Okay. So I mean, my kind of opinion is that like we live in this crazy realm where attention span has been slowly decimated by design through things like TikTok and shorts and just like instant gratification. And so for someone to take something seriously, they're not as likely to do it because they're just moving on to the next thing, regardless of what that is. So, I think that plays a big role in all this. And then, boy, the poor children and young adults growing up in this world right now, they were brought into this situation. So it's difficult. Because it's like instant response. What's the next dopamine injection I'm gonna get? On and on and on. So it's really, it's difficult to. That's kind of what I think we're dealing with.
That's a lot of certain types of populations in certain countries. There are other countries that are way more disciplined mentally. Like I can't believe that the Japanese have a 6-second attention span.
It's a good point.
The thing
they're
that
a
is
super
like,
technological country though too. So I don't know, man. We'd have to I guess look it up, but
I don't know. They seem to like. When I bought Japanese vehicles before and like Japanese technology, and they seem to like be very like this works, and so it could literally be made the exact same way 15 years before they modify it. I don't know. They seem to be very disciplined in some ways. And
I agree. Like they're very family oriented too. I mean, so they're definitely got different culture.
It's weird. It's like, okay, and not even about the UFO thing, but other things that have popped up lately that are everywhere. So you don't need an attention span, but it's almost like, okay, it didn't take much in the 90s. If there was some kind of wrongdoing, especially by law enforcement, it would erupt nationwide. It would cause freakouts all over the place. Potential for riots if people weren't, punished. Going back to the early 90s, like with Rodney King. And then you have like video after video after video on countless YouTube channels exposing that in modern day, in 2023, there are a lot of people out there that don't seem to know this simple Bill of Rights that we have here in the United States.
Oh,
and then you have really bizarre things like in what's it, Lincoln County, it was on one of the YouTube channels yesterday. I think it's New Mexico. An entire okay, so the sheriff's department in this county, I don't remember if it's called Lincoln County, but they had to empty out every prisoner that had been arrested in the last 2.5 years had to be set free because the entire sheriff's department was illegally sworn in. None of them were actually sheriffs or deputy sheriffs.
Shut the hell up.
Yes, that's true.
Are you
yes.
shitting me?
No, you can go to
What?
that was the video I happened to be telling you about. That there was crosstalk on. That was
whacked.
Yeah, because that YouTuber James Freeman, he lives in New Mexico, and he was reporting on the story. He even called the police department on his channel, and he was he went out to the jail and asked one of the correction guys, and the correction guy like, we only have one prisoner left. He's coming out shortly. They had to release every inmate.
That is insane.
Every inmate. Now, I don't know if that had happened 20 years ago. That doesn't take much of an attention span. That's like, what in the what?
What the hell? I'm just blown away. Blown away.
Yeah, let me see if I can find if it was Lincoln County.
Yeah, definitely drop a link in the chat. Definitely check that out.
Here. Lincoln County
and
New Mexico.
That's freaking bonkers, man. Totally bonkers.
Okay, let's see. All prisoners. I'm trying to find it released. Let's see here. There's videos from KRQE. If you do a search on Lincoln County, New Mexico news, all prisoners released, you'll see why New Mexico prison inmates weren't getting released. Wait, that's not it. Where is it? It was on, search engines don't work anymore. I'm getting all kinds of results
they
here.
all suck.
Nothing to do with what I'm searching.
Anyways, you can, I know. You can leave it in the chat, or when you find it, we can pop it up on screen, but definitely want to try to get back to the mental health part too.
Yeah. I thought it was like basically kind of like part of it because of the way people behave now. That doesn't seem to make any sense. I don't know what causes the group mind. I've never really felt a part of the group mind. You're talking about mental health. That is like, there's two big things that factor into my opinion about mental health: cognitive dissonance and group think.
Mm-hmm.
And those two things, I think, sabotage humanity more than anything else.
Yeah, absolutely. No, yeah, really, really good point. And the cognitive dissonance.
Cognitive dissonance is like almost like a computer virus in the brain. It's designed to really allow for the insane thinking that some people are capable of. I found the Freeman video. I'm going to post it in trying to do it without any audio coming on. So let me see here. Cognitive dissonance. If you could figure out, I think that was put there on purpose. That was an intentional thing that was done because it's quite easy to confuse and control people with cognitive dissonance. There, I put the link in there from
great
James Freeman channel.
Thank you. I'll drop that and I'll also drop that in Odysee and Rumble. And okay, I I do have to take a break. The dogs are going absolutely bonkers. They got to go outside. So I will drop this link and then we'll come back. Do you have time to still talk? And we're also going to bring on a guest and maybe a few others who are interested.
Yeah, I still have some time.
Okay,
Go ahead,
great.
Take a break. I'll mute my mic. Let me know when you're back.
Okay, so we'll be back. Faiza, who's waiting to join, will be back shortly. Everybody listening, we'll be back in about 6 minutes, 5-6 minutes. I just got to let the dogs out. It may be a little bit longer, but hopefully not. So hang in there, and thanks for stopping by today. We'll see you in a moment. Okay. Coming back now?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Good to have you. Before we go into the next segment, just as a reminder, the monthly members live stream is tomorrow, July 30th at around 7 p.m. Eastern Time. The topic is going to be children's past lives. So we're going to be concentrating on the research of from researchers about those children who talk about randomly about their past lives and reincarnating. So it's going to be an interesting one, and I'll see some of you then. And also want to remind you that Dan also has a new way to support him through Buy Me a Coffee, and you can find that information on his channel. I'll be sure to update the description. I don't believe I included everything in there today, so I'm going to go in and pop that up there. So if you want, Dan, feel free to drop that in the live chat if anyone's interested in supporting you, because I know you just opened that up, and it's great to see you popping a link up there in case anyone does want to support you. Obviously, it's always appreciated but never expected, but I'm glad you did that. Because I appreciate your work, man.
Thanks.
Yeah, okay.
So you have new guests coming on?
Yeah, we're going to have, let's see. Let me try to bring up the screen here. So, yeah, we're going to have Beza join us. Hello. Hello, how you doing? Welcome. Can you hear us okay? You may be muted. I'm not sure. Let me... no, you're not muted. Oh, you're really low. Let me try to turn up your... Can hear you very, very faintly.
I don't hear anything.
Yeah, it was like I heard her voice very, very faintly, but... Oh. It's, I mean, I know you're saying something, I just don't know what you're saying, because it's like, it's really, really faint, really, oh, I'm sorry. Okay, you know what, I don't think whatever you're using for the mic there is connected properly. Are you using a Windows computer? Because I see that you're using a headset, but like when you go closer to the mic, we're not hearing like an improvement of the audio volume. So
I think you have to click right-click the speaker on the bottom right of the computer, and then you have to basically select the device you're using, because otherwise Windows doesn't always automatically do that.
It could also be the streaming thing. Okay, so Beza, if you click, you see the mute button for Talk Studio. If you click the up arrow, you may be able to switch your microphone input or audio input microphone. Try switching to a different one and then talking. That might help you. So you have the mute button. Then there's like that arrow up. Click that, and then under audio input, try switching to a different one if you have the option to. I'm thinking that your microphone is being picked up by another device right now and not the headset that you're using. Okay. Okay, that's all right. No worries. No worries. I'm sorry.
It's okay. If you could hear me, I'll listen to you guys. I tried.
Yeah, I mean, like it's okay. It's like we can hear part of it, but it's are you on a laptop or a desktop?
Yeah, a desktop.
Desktop, okay.
Yeah. maybe it's just my headset is just not really very
It's,
good.
I don't think it's a headset. I think it might be, I think the microphone might be coming from your camera. If you grab your camera, try talking up to your camera. You might be able to hear you that way.
Can you hear me better this way?
No, it's about the same.
What if she unplugs it?
Oh yeah. Why don't you try unplugging the microphone headset and then plugging it back in?
Oh, got a little bit of feedback.
Can you hear me without it?
Oh, it's getting
Can you
better.
hear me without it?
Yeah.
Very low.
Oh, I unplugged it completely.
Okay. Well, whatever you did worked.
It's very loud.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm lowering it right now. I'll take care of it.
Cool.
Okay, so welcome.
Hi.
Don't worry, you're in good company. The channel we always have technical issues, so don't worry, you're in very good company. So what's on your mind today in relation to the topic with mental health and awakening and the soul trap? Anything you want to share with us?
After all that, I feel I don't know what to say because in what respect?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it doesn't even have to be like, I don't know. Like, I mean, I guess through your awakening process, what have you done to kind of, I guess, deal with the day to day, especially having probably multiple paradigm shifts and all that? I mean, how have you, like, what's your kind of secret recipe for dealing with the day to day?
It just happens. I don't know. You just have to keep on going on with your normal life every day. You can't really do anything about that.
True. True.
You got to make the best of the fact that, well, we're here and we're not going to be going anywhere for a while, quite likely, until it's our time to pass on. So I don't know. I just listen to what you guys have to say about things, and it always just made sense to me straight away. I don't really know why. There was no, like, coming to terms with it or having to really, I don't know what the word is. I just got it straight away. Like, I understood that it's like it just made sense. Something just clicked. Because I had read a lot of things about reincarnation from being like a young girl. And as I got older, I'd read a lot of stuff, and I just believed, like I think most people do, in what the books say to you. You know, it's like, oh, you're just reborn and that's it. You go into the light, you're reborn, and you don't really think anything else about it. And then suddenly I came across your channel, and it just clicked into place. It made sense that it was actually a trap and that we're not meant to probably really be here. And so I was trying to live my life every day.
That's the best we can do. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And then when it comes to the end of it all, I'm just going to try my hardest to resist every thing that they might try and do on the other side. When I get into the astral body, I'm in there, I've got an astral body, but when I pass, I'm just hopefully gonna resist everything. But sometimes from things that you hear or you read or you see these cases, it seems like it could be really difficult to avoid, because they say that like it's a magnetic pull, you know, that you're pulled into the light, or straight away within seconds of passing, your life review is just there. And I know you've talked a lot on your channel about how to distance from that, and it's just my most biggest fear is that it's not going to be possible. So
I think the biggest thing I try to talk about on the channel is having like an unrelenting inner knowing that, you know, that there is, don't have fear, don't allow the gates to kind of open for these jerk offs to come in and do anything, because if you stand firm in your footprint that, you know, everything's going to be okay, I'm going to go my own way, do my own thing, it's fine. And one thing to take into account with these other experiencer cases is that, you know, there's all these belief systems behind them. And with the belief systems comes like an expectation of something that they might see. And that could be deceased loved ones. That could be Jesus, Buddha, Muhammad, you know, source, creator, God, all these different things. So they're not actively aware of like the deceptive measures of what's happening here, and that's kind of like the big problem. It's like if they're not aware of what's happening and kind of just going along with the show and you know, perfectly trained in matrix belief systems, then really it causes a big issue, because they're not in the know. They're not aware. They're not self-aware. I mean, that's really what it boils down to, being self-aware of where you are, what you're doing, how it relates to liberating yourself. So that's like one of the most difficult parts about a lot of these cases that we go over. It's that they're stuck in the matrix hardcore and not they're not confident of a sovereign existence, or they don't know that a sovereign existence is even possible to exit. So the best thing I could suggest is don't doubt yourself. Don't doubt yourself, my friend.
I think it's like you're going to be like a moth to the flame if you don't know, are you? You know, but then the way that they know everything about us and everything that we do every single day, because they can play that back onto the onto the Akashic record that they show us when we do pass, they clearly are going to know that we know that it's a trap, and we have got our mind prepared that when we do get to that stage in our life and we pass away, that we're going to be resisting it and fighting it, and we're going to be not falling for their bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe they're going to have some other method to try and draw us in. But we're not going to know, are we, until it happens? But
yeah, we won't
I'm
know.
quite determined that I'm not coming back here. Not at all.
Well, see, I think that's where like the whole thing with non-interference, shielding yourself comes into play. It's like, don't even allow them the opportunity to interact. That's something, you know, that can be proven for sure with out-of-body experience work or breakthrough trips. I mean, breakthrough trips is a little more difficult because you still kind of like there's a drug involved, and by that, even though you can leave your body, there's still some sort of connection there that can make things a little chaotic. But even, you know, like a regular everyday out-of-body experience work like that, you can see how you can shut these things down instantly. So not interacting is really the keys to the kingdom, and shielding yourself from even being involved in any way, shape, or form, so that things can't progress to, let's say, the tunnel or the white light, or interacting with something that is portraying itself to be God, source, creator, Jesus, Buddha, Muhammad, deceased loved ones, on and on and on. So
I guess you don't believe in that stuff to start with. If you don't believe in the religion, you don't have those religious things behind you, it's going to be less difficult, I suppose, because you're not going to feel. Some people said they felt guilty, or is the minute that Jesus told them they had to go back or they had to be reborn, they're like, oh yes, okay, Jesus, anything, you know, send me there, because they wanted to please Jesus or whoever it was that was speaking to them, that they thought was speaking to them. Clearly it wasn't that person. It's just an entity shape-shifting into whatever deity the person worships or looks up to. I don't know. It's hard for people though, because there's a lot of people who just wouldn't even want to consider this as a possibility, isn't there? They don't want to believe that it's a trap. They think we're crazy.
Yeah, well, I mean, I embrace the crazy label. It's okay for me. It, the way I see it, kind of like what Dan and I were talking about. None of us have all the answers. It's, it just is what it is, and the memory wipe is kind of like the chief suspect in all of this. It's, it really explains a lot, and without kind of giving that serious consideration, it's hard to get even to the next step. And then, of course, just understanding that reincarnation is happening. It's a fact. It's provable. There's loads of research behind it. I mean, that's the red flag in combination with the memory wipe really kind of says it all. So it's important that one eventually kind of awakens and becomes self-aware. And this realm really is an expert at making sure that you don't become self-aware, that we don't become self-aware, and that's really like the biggest problem, and it has to do with all this programming, the poor design of the human body, and on and on. I mean, it's really a well thought out deception, but just don't doubt yourself, my friend. That's the best advice I could kind of give. Dan, you wanna add anything?
Yeah, sure. Oh, hi. Nice to meet you, by the way.
Hi,
yeah.
nice to meet you, Dan.
Yes. So to me, it all boils down to this reaction that we have if we believe in authority. To me, once you strip that away completely, it depowers everything. Okay, so like if you're dealing with people that think they have authority here on Earth, what you're really dealing with is people that have a monopoly on violence. They don't really have any authority. They have the ability to threaten you with great violence. You're in a human body. We're very limited here. Consciousness is shrunk down to a really bad level. And so you're being coerced. You're not being ordered. Once you get that psychology in your head, that you understand you're obeying certain rules here because of coercion, not because an authority told you so. And then as soon as you're free of the body, once lifespan ends, you're now no longer limited by the body. So if the psychology of authority has been purged from your psyche, then it doesn't matter who shows up. You can go tell them I don't give an F about your life review. I signed away my privacy rights, I guess, when I incarnated here. It doesn't matter what you show me. Everything down there was rigged. It's a rigged game. It's like if you're playing a game and you realize the game master's cheating, and then they try to make you feel guilty, it doesn't really work. You can't really make me feel guilty for anything. There's nothing. I did the best I could under circumstances that were given to me. There's nothing more I can learn here. Thanks, but no thanks. If you happen to get that far trapped into having a discussion. But Mark, I think, is right. You cut yourself off. I don't think they can do anything. They can't penetrate you. They can't force you. They can't do anything, especially if you are resolute with firm intentions and you're shielded yourself and you just refuse to interact with anything. I don't think anything can force you in the out of body state. You don't need a car to travel. You don't need a plane. You don't need to walk somewhere. You can literally just intend yourself to be somewhere and you're there. What do you think, Mark?
No, I think that's spot on, and that's like kind of what was like the thing that gave me the most confidence is going outside the body, seeing how others deal with outside the body, seeing how they can shut things down on like instantaneously with intention and thought. It really was extremely self-empowering. It was massive, and made me realize that, yeah, I mean, all this place banks on is us falling further bullshit and believing in it. And there's also kind of like an underlying current of these, where they try to hook us with our deceased loved ones, our pets, so if it's not religion or spiritual beliefs or the whole thing with God, source, I mean, it doesn't matter what it is. It's kind of like a multifaceted approach and attack that is hoping that all you do is give yourself away to it, show some interest, continue to buy into the bullshit, and as a result, still stay in the system. So, like, if you cut it off at the knees instantly at the time of natural death by way of shielding yourself, non-interference, refusing flat out to interact with anything, like basically like you're cocooning yourself in a bubble of protection that nothing can interfere. I don't see how anything can potentially do anything to you. It seems very cut and dry, based on all these experience testimonies, and I'll just say just based on what I experienced. So, and I know many others out there, who've had the opportunity would probably say the same, that, there's a lot of confidence behind all that. It gives you this deep realization that, wow, I'm not just like a grain of sand on the beach that the system wants me to believe. Like, I'm way more powerful than it's being portrayed down here. And think about that. Like, one of the cringiest things out there is how the system tells us, oh, well, you're no different, or then, you're nothing. You're basically like a grain of sand on the beach. You're nothing. That's what they want you to believe. And I mean, I don't know how often you guys have heard that, but I've heard it many times, especially growing up. Oh my God. It's a massive narrative out there where, like, they compare you to being like basically shit on a shoe, a grain of sand on the beach. I mean, talk about pathetic. We're all these powerful creator beings, and they're trying to say like we're equivalent to a grain of sand on the beach. Get the fuck out of here. I mean, really. I mean, it's a total joke. And that's all part of the show. It's all part of the game, just trying to get us to think less of us. And it really cringes me out, drives me out of my mind. How they, make us feel like practically worthless in this experience when we are way bigger than all of that.
Yes, there's somebody in the comment section that just put an interesting comment. Once you're out of your body, you're not a body anymore. You're not matter. It's from Deleted Truths. You're a thought form, and so you can never be captured unless you give something your focus or your attention.
Yep.
Matter of fact, if you study all the NDEs, especially all the ones that Mark has done on his channel, all these in-depth reviews, it really is about your attention being captured.
Exactly.
That's how you're captured.
Yeah.
Whatever you happen to focus, and when you think about it, it's kind of what they do here, right? The media captures your attention. They have not so much us, but many people.
We're getting some feedback, guys.
Oops.
I'm so glad that someone else came here as well.
Yep. We got True Detective just joined us. I'm sorry, Dan, you want to finish your thought?
No, that was it. That was pretty much my thought. I was just commenting on that.
Yeah, Deleted Truth. Deleted Truth drops mad truth bombs.
Yeah, $10 super chat there, Mark, before that.
Okay, yeah, let me just one moment, guys. Let me just go here. I want to thank Uwu for the very kind super chat. It says, thank you for your work, Mark. Take care. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate you. And very kind of you. And then Lawrence, getting some feedback, guys. Getting some echoing.
Lots of noise.
Yeah, that's not Dan. True Detective. Could you each try, one of you try muting your mic just to see?
I think it's True Detective. I don't think it's me.
Yeah, I think it's her as well, but the mic wasn't moving, so I wasn't really sure. Okay, while we're waiting, I wanted to thank also Lawrence for your very kind super chat. I appreciate you. Lawrence says, thanks for all your good work, Mark. Probably see you and you all manana. Mañana. All right, brother. Thank you so much. Very kind of you. Okay, so, I'm sorry, how do you pronounce, is it Faiza or Fiza?
Phaser.
Phaser.
I should have put Roxana because that's my middle name and the name I use on the Discord, but I've put my first name.
No worries.
I was wanting to ask, like, because I've seen videos, I've listened to all Dan's podcasts, whatever they're called. I don't know if they're called podcasts when he's talking. I've watched everything, listened, and I've watched other people as well. So, you know, like, obviously population has grown in the last, even like in 100 years. The population is just getting bigger and bigger, you know, like that. Where are all the new souls coming from? Or do you think this is like these, like we're talking about the NPCs, and some of the people don't have the essence? Or is it just
I think
all the souls? But where are the souls coming from? They're creating them, or they're being drawn in from somewhere?
No, I think, you know, just thinking about Robert Monroe and what he described and what you get from some other sources, there's a vast multiverse out there and conscious beings all over the place. There's no shortage of souls. And the Earth is like... it's like trying to, you know, compare it to like really, unfortunately, like let's think of it as an amusement park or something, except you don't really get amused here. But it's like a thing like, imagine everybody in the United States trying to cram into one amusement park. You can't let everybody in. So there's more people than space. So, there's just a line waiting, naive souls that have never been here before. It appears, I think this place appears very exciting and intriguing. It comes off as something that you'd want to agree to participate in when you don't know what it's really about. Even though they tell you, it's no different than when we get told to do something that you want to participate in, whether it's a video game or some kind of online service. And they give you this barrage of legalese that explains everything to you, and you're assigning away your privacy, you're signing away all kinds of stuff, and you're agreeing to it because you want to go in and play the game. I think it's really that simple. They simply honestly tell you, but it's so overwhelming and confusing, and people don't care, or beings, I should say, thought consciousness does not care. It wants to experience something, and then it agrees to come here, and then it gets trapped in a loop and a cycle. And I think the Earth astral planes are like waiting areas for people that don't want to leave and would like to reincarnate again, and they stick around in these Earth astrals, which are like copies of here that are on like the immediate spirit plane. Mark, how do you see that? Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, I kind of look at it as, you know, you have this whole matrix that we reside in, and you know, that's not just the Earth plane, but you know, the many planes linked to it. But then you have like a whole, for lack of a better word, multiverse. And so there is an interest in coming here. So one of the things that really seems to not be taken into account is, you know, like, hey, we all came here, but where do we come from initially? Like, what realms were we traversing before we came in here? So I think there's an interest in, like you said, there's a curiosity. It's advertised a certain way that is appealing to us. So, who knows where we came from, and what got us here, what poked our interest to even come here in the first place. And, it could be false advertising, who knows? But that's besides the point. It's that, like one of the narratives that it's just not taken into account with reincarnation is population growth, but it's almost like there's like a understanding in the background that is kind of baked into the cake that there's only a certain amount that can come here, when I don't think that's the case. I think there's all sorts of different spirit essence beings from all over the multiverse that come here and join at certain times. The other thing I'd like to add is that, one moment. The other thing I'd like to add is that, in Newton's books with the past life regressions, even with pre-birth memories, it seems that, there are certain time periods that are of interest for spirit essence beings to come here or reincarnate here. So just because they may not have reincarnated 100 years ago, maybe they're waiting for a specific timeline because they know it's going to be exciting. I think even Monroe touches on that. Could be wrong, but I think even he talks about that, how there's just they want to be here, or we wanted to be here for something. Like it was going to be an interesting period of time in the Matrix, and it's appealing. So by proxy, the population of the Matrix increases, at least the Earthrealm Matrix increases. And so, that's kind of like, I have a few different thoughts on that. But as far as like the overall thing, I think it's, there's a bunch of different spirit essence beings. I don't think any of us come here or are actually have origins here, like besides our association with this place. And I think that's like another common misconception is that we're all born, so to say, or created, and not born, that's the wrong word, but created within this matrix system, when I think it's the opposite. I think we all kind of come from various multiverses, realms, and this is just one stop of many that we've made to experience something different. So that's kind of my thought on it.
I always felt when I was little that I was at a place as far as technology goes. To me, everything always seemed primitive and boring. And when I was young, and I remember telling people like, well, this should be this or this should be that. And of course that technology happened 30, 40 years later. But when I would tell people when I was little, like this, this could do that. There were a lot of different ideas I had, like from wherever I was pulling that from, and people would tell me, "Yeah, you can never do that, or that can't be done." Everything that I can't tell you how many times I predicted something, and I don't know where I was getting that information from. To me, the whole place was ass backward when I got here.
That could be to do with time running all parallels. So you could incarnate in the future, or you could incarnate in the past, or in the time period that we're in now. I don't think that time is linear. I think that maybe time is all the past, the present, and the future can be like simultaneously occurring. You incarnate, like you could die tomorrow, but you could maybe choose to come back in like the Georgian era or the Victorian era, possibly.
Oh, that would be horrible.
So if you had an incarnation that was in the future. Well, it could be interesting to some people. I don't know, a whole different experience. I don't know, but I do believe in like parallel realities and the multi things like that.
Yes,
definitely. I don't believe that this is this.
Yes, I agree with you. Yes.
Same.
Hello, you guys
True
can hear
Detective,
me?
hello. Hey, yes, we can hear you. Welcome.
Oh, good. I'm very sorry about the technical difficulties. I think I had the same problem Roxana had
Don't even
when I had
worry
my
about it.
headphones plugged in. So I unplugged them. Anyway, it's
You're in
great to
good
see
company.
you, Dan and FC and Roxana. And I think this is a very important topic, mental health, especially when it comes to this kind of information. Me in particular, I've always struggled with anxiety all my life. And strangely enough, when I came upon this information, yes, there was a period of, oh my God, I'm totally freaked out. But after a period of time of, doing my own research and watching your videos, FC, and yours, Dan, and, a lot of reading, I felt more empowered. And even now, I feel more empowered than I've ever felt. And I'm seeing things differently, which is helping with anxiety. For example, Dan, you had touched upon it earlier. The hierarchy. We are programmed. It might even be innate, but at least some of it is programming. That from a very early age, there's a hierarchy. And when you watch these NDEs, it makes sense that these people, when they cross over and they don't know what's happening to them, they automatically assume that they're beneath these entities. Oh, this is an angelic being. This is Jesus or Buddha or whoever. And so they just go along with it because they're so used to that hierarchical mentality. But there was an actual moment for me. It was a moment that struck me when it finally hit me that the whole problem is seeing this hierarchy and accepting it. And so what I'm envisioning when it's my time is I'm just, like you say, FC, it's just not allowed. They're not going to interact with me. They don't have any power over me. And, they try to hit me with the love bomb or whatever they try. It's not going to matter because I will develop my sea legs, so to speak, in that realm. I mean, there might be a few moments, however long, I don't know how long it's going to take, where I'll probably feel like, what the hell's going on? I'm in a spirit form instead of my usual physical. But I'll get used to it. We all will. It'll be probably even quick. And then we can just figure it all out and just be done with them and just not even interact.
Yeah, can I ask you a question, True Detective?
Sure.
Do you also, now that you've unraveled the whole hierarchy thing, I don't know if you're like me, or if anybody else can empathize with this, but you don't see any kind of authority here either. You just see people delusional and thinking that they have authority over you, and really you totally understand that you're just being threatened with violence.
Yeah, and that's funny because that came to me around the same time because I had been living life in the physical according to the hierarchy. And I'm not saying I'm out there, trying to start violence or break laws or whatever, what they consider laws. No, it's not like that. It's just more like in a job or whatever, there's somebody who may be my supervisor at some point, and you have to go along with it to eat because you have to make the money and everything. But deep down, that it's not real. That hierarchy is not real.
Right. You're going along. It's not
real on the other side either.
Right. It's more like you're going along because it's the tactical thing to do at the moment. But that there's really, it's really like, you really don't take it seriously anymore. Like you're going along because, well, I want to get my paycheck, or I don't want to get that traffic ticket and have to waste my time in court. So I'm going to obey the speed limit. But they're not really going along because, I have to obey the speed limit because the government said so.
Right. That's a perfect example, being tactical about it.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, I like that comparison too. I mean, it's it's just like what we're involved with. It's it is what it is, and I also kind of look at it as like I want just basic comforts in life. That's it. Electricity, plumbing, a roof over my head, just the basics. And I don't need a mansion. I don't need all these exotic toys to to get through in life. I just want the basics, and you know, I don't want to deal with bullshit. That's it.
Right.
That's it.
Yes, there will
Very
be
simple.
tons of Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I was just saying that it's just very simple. The kinds of things that we types of people in this, I guess you could call a community, that's where we are now. We just want the basics. We don't need to deal with all this other bullshit.
Right. And I really also, now that I kind of should have brought this up earlier, but the term cognitive dissonance, I use it because that's the official term, but really that word, that name tag sucks. It really needs like a clever, better branding. But I really think that really was what hampers most humans from seeing the truth.
Oh, looks like we may have lost Dan, but yes, totally agree.
What the hell?
He'll be back. We may have lost his
I was hanging on to every word and then he was gone.
I know, right?
Yeah. And he might still be talking, thinking that he's still here as well. Unfortunately.
Let me just drop him a quick text and let him know. I'm sure he's aware he dropped out.
I think one thing like what I've always found True Detective is like I've never really like wanted to follow people's rules or people that were in authority. I've always been quite rebellious. Like I've never wanted to follow. And people always said, "Oh, why do you have to be different? Why do you think the rules don't apply to you?" But I just didn't care. I just didn't care that person thinks they've got some power over me or they have something that I'm supposed to bow down to or something like that. Like, but of course you have to live so that you don't cause yourself a problem just to be comfortable. You can't just be going out there and ignoring all the rules and not, you know what I mean. I find it hard to get the right words out.
OverWatchProject joined.
Oh, you're doing great.
Oh,
He's back.
hello?
Hi.
All right,
Hi.
you're back.
Well, that was weird. What
Yeah.
happened?
I don't know. Your camera may be active, just so you know.
Oops.
The Matrix don't want to hear you. What you got? The Matrix don't want you to say what you're gonna say.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't have much to worry about. There's only a few of us. Comparatively speaking to the whole human population, there's only a few of us.
That is funny. It's like a subculture of a subculture of a subculture.
Yes, exactly. That's really well said.
Yeah, we're no threat.
No, and you know, I don't know. Like if I was some parasitic controller running this place, I wouldn't want us hanging around here. I'd, you know, spitting truth and exposing the whole scam. I would want us out of here. You know, like I don't think there's going to be any effort made to try and even keep us here. I really feel that way. There's just no point. You know, there comes a point when there's like liability involved and risk.
Mark,
Yes, I agree.
you brought up a good point that made me think of a topic that is related. What do you think of some people who are over preparing, maybe due to self-doubt? And what would you consider over preparing?
No, I mean, I think that's a great question, and I was guilty of that in the past too. I really think everything boils down to our having 100 zillion% unrelenting intention for non-interference, liberation, sovereignty, creating your own realm, you know, to isolate yourself at, you know, on your way out. And then of course, you know, Dan, just so you know, we're getting some feedback. Do you have a headset by any chance, man?
No, I can try to find one.
Or maybe
Hold
just
on.
even if you just use the mic that you have, like we're getting like a background hiss almost.
Really?
Yeah. It's weird because when you talk, we don't hear it, but when when you're not talking, then we do. So, I mean, yeah, you could mute it temporarily and then unmute if that works. But
Yeah, that's what I'll do if it fixes it.
yeah, that's cool. So yeah, I think really everything boils down to having an unrelenting intention, not allowing any sort of doubt. That's like one of the biggest things I run across is doubt. Someone, well, if I get out of here, or if I'm allowed to do this, or if I'm allowed to do that, is one of the most concerning comments I see, because what does that do? It casts doubt like within the depths of your being, and that's not like I mean, I understand it, but it's not a healthy way to look at this, because to me, like, if I'm running the place, oh, I got someone who has doubt. I have someone who is second guessing themselves about who and what they are and what their intention and abilities are as a creator being. That's kind of like an open door. So yeah, I think that's a great question, True Detective, and it takes a little time to get there. I mean, I get it, but at the same time, never doubt yourself, my friends. The power is all yours. Every single bit of it is all yours, and it's don't let this place get one up on you, because it's just not. It's a joke. All they have are these illusions and deceptions, and try to lure you in through friends, family, pets, music, material goods, assets, property, money, maybe offering you a better lifetime next go around. I mean, there's so many different things that they can kind of come at you with, but if you shut it off again, cut it off at the knees, it is simply not allowed. Have a strong inner knowing that you're going to be just fine, that you're going to go your own way, do your own thing, and nothing is going to stop you. I think that's really like it, boiling everything down to its simplest form, and that's kind of what I talk about regularly. It's like they keep things very, very simple. And the phrase, or something like the phrase, I'm gonna kind of shoot from the hip, but it's one of the phrases, like, often the most simplest answer is truth, or truest, or something along those lines. And something I've kind of come to conclude over the years is that is an absolutely true statement. I don't know about you guys. I mean, feel free to chime in, but that's really how I feel too. It seems as if the simplest answer is almost always the most logical. Like, if information points you in a certain direction, then that's likely what it is, and that's likely what can help you progress and have these paradigm shifts and all this other stuff. So I also want to thank Tom for your very kind super chat. I appreciate it, my friends. It's great discussion, everybody. Okay, so anybody else want to add to that? I think it's a great question, True Detective, and one that I'll be honest, keeps me up at night.
I like to use visualization and imagination to create scenarios in my head, which I think eventually penetrates to the subconscious mind, because I don't know if the subconscious part of us can tell the difference between imagination and reality sometimes. But the more you can beat out any kind of programming that may be in the bottom of your subconscious and just get it out of your system, then there's really nothing left for them to control you with.
Dan, how about in your comment section of any of your videos, do you ever see comments that make you think that's kind of over preparing, or could you think of examples of what you would consider over preparing?
Yeah, sure. I mean, if you're trying to make it complicated, at first I was trying to, it was very complicated, you know, oh, I may have to do this or practice that or this and that and the other thing. But the more even in this, even in the physical world here, it almost seems like things that should be simple are presented to you in a very complicated way, and things that are complicated, authorities promise to give you simply and never deliver. Does that make sense? That it just seems like the they have inverted everything, and it's just simple. It's simplicity is the way to go. But yeah, in the beginning, I was like trying to figure out, you know, do I have to meditate so many hours a day? Do I have to do this? Do I have to
Exactly.
connect to some ancient pantheon of deities to help me out of here? You know, there's all kinds of things because you don't know. You're kind of unmoored once you detach, and you're kind of like compassless. You don't know where to go. It's a very dangerous time because you could latch on to some other new form of BS.
Absolutely. I've seen some people that seem to get onto this guru thing where, you know, they'll be really into some particular, what I would call a guru online or something. And I've even seen comments such as, oh, the way to get out is you have to get a shaman and then you got to do these rituals and things like that. And like you said, all of you have said, it is very simple. There's probably not much to it. It's probably going to be easier than we think.
Agreed.
Yeah, it's kind of like the end of that 1980s movie War Games, where in the end the computer, you know, the computer simply finally comes to terms with the only way to win is not to play. So, I mean, it does seem ridiculous, but that's a lot of the guru thing. I've always told people I am not a guru. Please do not follow me. I'm not somebody that you need to, you know, orbit around or anything. I'm just throwing information out there, and you be your own guru. Does that make, you know, that's the way I see it. I don't follow anybody.
Totally, yeah.
That's right. It's the
So
only
I hope
way.
that people listening are taking that into account to depend on yourself. It's a solo journey.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. You come in alone, you got to leave alone. In some ways, some of the Eastern traditions, I think they've been polluted with a lot of nonsense, but the core element of unattachment, you know, that probably originally came from some understanding about that.
Totally agree. I mean, it's incredible because the Eastern religions and philosophies spit mad truth, but they own, like everything else in this realm, they only will get you so far. They will I mean, really, it begs the question when you look at this world through the lens of the soul trap, and then you look at how things like Hinduism, Buddhism, Gnosticism, etc., all those things are telling you massive truths, but at the same time they're cutting you off again at the knees, so they're only allowing you to get so much information, and they can give you loads of truth, but at the end of the day, if there is a reliance or a thought that or a belief system that is rooted in you know, you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to go through this realm, or you have to go through these bardos, or you have to go between the you know, the holes in the grid, or you know, or you have to say, oh, I want to go home, blah 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 blah, all this stuff. It really sets up a scenario where, you know, it's like, hey, we can give you these massive truths and you may resonate with them, but at the same time, we know you're going to end up still kind of stuck in this situation. And that's exactly how anyone would run this place. They would give you the truth, but just decapitate you at the finish line so that you can't like realize your true power, your true essence. I mean, it's amazing to see how it all works. And I'm convinced that things like these religions and philosophies in the East are all there by design to connect with someone who may think, or at least have an inkling, that yes, this place is some big, massive deception. This is some big, massive trap, but also kind of, again, decapitate you at the finish line. I mean, it really, there's a reason why this information is out there. The information is out there so that because the system knows that some of us are going to resonate with it. And as long as it can contain you, keep you within the box, then it's achieved its goal. It knows that you're not going to go any further.
Yeah. Apart from hierarchy, like True Detective said, there's this programming of procedure that is everywhere. And even in these Eastern religions, which basically just tell you, just unattach. When you die, you want to kind of detach. But they have then inserted all these procedures. And I think procedures is the other trap. You don't need any procedure when you're end of life and you exit the human body and you're no longer connected to it anymore.
Oh, so you're not going to die at a 45-degree angle, Dan?
No, there's
you
no
sure? Well, you're not going to get out of here then.
Don't need any procedures. I just need my thought of what I want to have happen. I mean, how many times has NDE or an out-of-body experience, or I want to see Paris, and boom, they're in Paris, or whatever they think, and they're there. And I think that's why you get interrupted so quickly. And your focus gets taken, because your focus of whatever you're thinking will happen almost instantaneously.
Don't realize your intention's king. Don't you dare realize
your intention is king. Yeah, your focus is king, and you should control your own focus. Does that make sense to everybody else?
Yeah,
Totally.
well said, man.
Maybe it's like at the end of that movie, The Labyrinth, where she can't remember all the way through what she's supposed to say, the last line, and then when she tells him, "You have no power over me," and everything just falls apart. All the deception that he's given her just falls apart when she says that, "You have no power over me." Maybe that's what we have to say to them.
Yeah. There's so much truth in fiction. Matter of fact, there's more truth in fiction than we get anywhere else.
100%. 100%.
The news is fake and the fiction is real. That's totally it. Everything is inverted.
Yeah, it's even a part of mind control manuals. Some of the books I think I've linked to in my OverWatchProject.com in the book section is about mind control or psychological operations. They will give you a amount of truth but yet lie just enough so they manipulate you into thinking what they want you to think. And so all these different religions and philosophies and the so-called gurus out there, they have to give you some truth because it has to resonate at some level. And then they manipulate you after that part.
Exactly. I mean, that's really the everything right there, Dan, is how it's all about getting you to resonate with the information, connect with it. And boy, I mean, I went through that multiple times, and it's like, oh yeah, makes sense. You connect with it, and then you kind of fall into this whole pre-packaged and a matrix narrative, like just ready and waiting to suck you up and not ask any questions. I mean, it's incredible how well thought out this whole place is.
Yeah, where the brain, the reducing valve of our consciousness, is literally like a computer virus. It allows for all this craziness to continue and have you think that it makes sense, and you want to feel comfort, right? You want to, oh, I finally found all the answers, and now I can relax. And really, if you just accept that you can't get all the answers, not in this state, you can just piece together the elements and then go from there.
Yeah. Want to give a big shout out to Feynman's Variety Channel. Good to see you, my friend. Hope you've been well, and definitely go give her a subscription if you're interested. That's Feynman's Variety Channel. And one question I saw from GV, a good friend of the channel, says, I just don't agree with the, quote, creating your own realm statement, end quote. There is no evidence we can create anything. Plus, we would stay there in our own realm, isolated forever. Question. That's a question. Okay, so yeah, this is a question I get fairly regularly, and you may as well, Dan. I'm not sure, but I think the way you can find out, at least that you're a creator being, is by going outside the body, right? You can see that you can create things with intention. You can disavow. You can banish various entities that may be kind of trying to mix themselves up with you. And so that is key, right? You're able to prove outside the body that, yes, you are a creator being, and that you can that you have immense power. So as far as the creating your own realm, okay, like one of the things I talked about early on, and I've evolved on it, the vegan skeptic was a big part of this. As you know, he said, well, create, because one of the narratives I was putting out there is like, hey, create your own portal. Your portal is to get you outside of the matrix. And he was right. He says, you create your own portal, you don't maybe necessarily know where you're going. And I thought it was a really, really great response that he put out there. And so I kind of adjusted my thought on that. I think it's important that, we keep things down to a very, very minimal intention. Very, again, like the simplest solutions. And that involves creating our own realm. Now, the intention is to create our own realm outside of this entire matrix, that nothing, can infiltrate or do anything in this creation, this space that is ours. Now, as far as staying isolated forever, no, I never, ever, ever say that. I think as far as isolation goes, it's when we leave here, right? It's like when we're there, like I like to compare it to, it's like, okay, so we've been memory wiped. We've kind of had all these issues where we are lost, right? But as creator beings, there has to be like some sort of strengths and weaknesses. And the best way to realize those strengths and weaknesses is to reunite with them in our own realm, under our own conditions, in a location or a intention that cannot be messed with. Like nothing outside can mess with us. So it's just like a temporary space. It's definitely not. I mean, like I've never ever once implied that, we have that we're, we go to this realm that we created of our own and stay there for eternity, for our everlasting essence. No, it's the complete opposite. It's just a location, a temporary state of mind, state of existence, where we do our own thing. realize our strengths, realize our weaknesses. Like let's be honest. I mean, we ended up here, right? And just because we're creator beings doesn't mean that we're not, that there aren't inherent flaws or things that can be detrimental to our existence by participating in something like the earth realm or other realms that may be parasitic in nature. So it's about lucidly becoming aware of our complete essence and realizing our strengths, our weaknesses as creator beings. And then at some point we go exploring. I mean, I know myself, and I'm not the type of individual who's going to be hanging around in some, self-created realm and not want to go exploring and interacting with other realms. But I sure as hell am not going to rush myself out of that self-contained zone and like twiddle my thumbs and hope that everything will be okay. No, I want to make sure that I don't make a mistake like this again and just allow myself the time to come to terms with who and what I am as a creator being. And I think that's really what it boils down to. But at some point, we're all going to obviously want to go explore, go experience different things within the multiverse or whatever's going on out there. Some of us may want to create our own realms, and have a like a litmus test so that, we could all live in peaceful existence and not allow anything to mess with us. I mean, as creator beings, we have these insane abilities. And I think it would be fun just to mess around and experience those and then make a judgment call afterwards. The reason for the self-contained zone, the self-contained realm, is to, again, allow you to be you, allow you to refamiliarize yourself with you. But does that mean you stay in that realm for eternity? Absolutely not. No, I mean, I've never implied that, and I think it's important that, yes, we do something like that. We do kind of create our self-contained realm, but at the same time, get to a point where we feel comfortable going and exploring and doing our own thing, or perhaps reuniting with other beings we've hung out with in various realms. I mean, think about it. I mean, we're here. We know a soul group is a thing, right? We're like it's absolutely a thing. But what about perhaps other groups or individuals that we've hung out with who are not under the delusion of a, parasitic matrix, like outside of here in various different forms, shapes, and mentalities and essences and all that stuff. But at their core, we know that they're not, they don't have like some creepy parasitic agenda to keep us reincarnating and coming into human existence and blah, 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 blah. I think those beings exist. I do. I'm convinced that there are other beings out there that we've traversed many, many realms, probably many, many entities, many, many different essence beings. Something I've talked about a few times, and this is the last thing I'm going to kind of say on it, is one thing. It's really odd, and I don't get it all that often, but I get it at least a few times a year, where I'm in a dream state, and I kid you not, I am interacting with some beings out there, and they are openly conveying to me that, we're having a good time, we're doing what we got to do, but like, you're not going to remember this. And it's almost like a sad, like, connection in a way. Now, do I believe that that's something outside of the Matrix? I don't know. And I would veer more no than yes. But there's something there that like it feels like it's like, oh, like almost like a morning. It's like, oh, like we had this good time in the dream world, and now, you know, you've got to go wake up in, you know, the meat suit. And it's like this somewhat like agreed upon or like connection between us that exists. I can't explain it, but it's something that I've experienced a number of times over many years, and it just feels like a period of mourning. Like we're supposed to be together, but they know that my stupid ass is limited and going to eventually wake up and forget everything that was experienced. But anyways, I don't know if any of you have had something like that, but it's really wild, and kind of again like cemented this inner knowing that you know, there's others that care about us, whether they're involved with the Matrix or not. I don't know, but I mean, I again, my gut tells me that they are. But please, if any of you've experienced something like that, I would love to hear it either on the panel or in the chat.
Most of my dreams definitely contain characters and places that are extremely familiar to me, but do not exist in waking life.
Yeah, that's
But in
exactly
the
what I'm
dream,
experiencing. Yeah.
They are so familiar to me. Yes. I
So is
can't
there like
say
a
that
morning
there's
period? Do you feel like there's a more?
I can't say that much. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Is there like a morning
No,
period you feel going on there?
no. Yeah, that's all I was trying to say was there's all these familiar characters, people, places, but I haven't had what you had where there's something like an agreement that, oh, well, you're going to not remember this. Sad, we have to separate. No, I have not had that.
Okay.
Yeah, like True Detective said, I have the same thing. I go to the same dream places, the same places. I see people, and sometimes it'll be the same people, but I don't really know who they are, but I don't really remember they speak to me, as in the way that Forever Conscious says that he does. But I do go to the same places in my dreams that are very familiar to me when I get there, and I recognize them because I go to those same places over and over again. But they're quite creepy, actually. Feels quite creepy.
I've had dreams where I clearly know what was going on when I wake up, and they evaporate within minutes, and I can't remember them anymore. Like
Do you feel a connection? Like you knew them?
Yes, and then I literally it's like I gotta remember that, and then it literally I can only describe it as like an evaporation of the memory. It's like I can remember some brief visuals, and everything kind of just fades away. It's like I'm not allowed to remember it here. That happens every now and then.
Yeah, so it seems like you kind of have some connection too. I mean, it's really weird. Really weird.
Well, probably like one of the things I told you last time I was talking to you, Mark, is that interview I watched. I sent you that David Hoffman guy, scientist. The reason I watched it is because in the very beginning of the video, the guy says everything that we perceive about this reality that we exist in right now is a fiction. And when a scientist says that, I immediately like, what is this guy talking about? So I listened to the whole interview, and he doesn't want to deviate off of the science. Obviously, he never speculates about anything. He never said, but what he did say was, basically he was saying we live in a lie that, we perceive but as real, but it's really not as real as we think it is.
Sure. It's a wild ride, isn't it?
Oh yeah, the real key, going back to what you were saying before, is hey, no more terms of service unless you completely understand what the hell you're agreeing to.
Exactly.
I'm not going to agree to anything. Yeah, I don't want to live in my own realm unless you're creating like your own universe, and then you can, with rules that make sense, are sane and logical, and there's no crazy mentality going on, and you want to create some kind of realm, because I'm sure there are places that this whole reincarnation system was based on that may not be toxic, and we just I don't know where they are, but I'm sure that that what was modeled here is probably based on other models.
Yeah,
and there
makes sense.
there may be a reason why non-physical thought consciousness beings may want to come into a material physical environment temporarily, and it could be something natural, and it could exist in places that aren't toxic or hostile, or I think this place just lures you in because if you're naive, it probably looks extremely exciting. That's the way Monroe described it, with M-band noise or mental noise. It does seem like, is it Phasa? Phasa, right? Like she said, a moth being drawn to the light, right? I have one of those bug zappers in my backyard, and they just flock to it.
They love it. They love it.
They love it, right? Something about it must be very attractive, and I think there's a lot of clues in this matrix that try to tell you the mechanisms, that so you can see. I don't think they ever hide the truth. It's just kind of like ignored by us because we don't understand what we're looking at.
Oh, yeah, no, I completely agree. I mean, like, really, like, I'm gonna do an independent video on this, but seriously, like, they look, they may distort the truth, they may mess with the truth, but they always give the truth for those who have the eyes to see and ears to hear. One of the biggest truth bombs, I think, of the realm, and, call me crazy, it's the freaking anglerfish. I mean, it's a fish with basically like an antenna at the base of its nose with a light at the end, and it's designed to catch its prey through like seduction via a light. I mean, it's freaking nuts. And that's just showing us right in our face, the the craziness of the light. I'm gonna throw up a picture of it, but I mean it's no joke. It's a real fish, and it catches other beings, or I'm sorry, fish or whatever it's got to eat through those means. I mean, it's wacky, really wacky. Here, I'm going to throw this up here. This is something I'm going to do a video on in the very near future. But it's truth in plain sight for everyone to see. So let me just get this up here.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's incredible. It's incredible. I mean, it's a disgusting looking fish, and it's got, I mean, look, it's got the light dangling over it, and that's the lure. It's literally seductive for other fish or whatever the hell's in the ocean to go towards it. I mean, look at that, and it's nasty. Look at it. It's disgusting.
You see the light behind it. It's amazing.
It's fucking disgusting. It's truth in plain sight personified. Look at it.
Yes. Didn't you have an NDE where the person was saying, like, when they were presented with reincarnating on Earth, they didn't want to go because it was so disgusting? You had an NDE where you were, they were, or it may have been an NDE or not, but I think it was an NDE where they were told to go back, and they didn't want to because it was like pure evil, pure darkness.
Oh, I think you're thinking of Harold. Actually, he had pre-birth memories. He's joined for a few videos. One to share his story of his pre-birth memories, and then also he did some co-commentary on pre-birth memories as well.
Right, and he was saying how, basically he was describing like this anglerfish, like what was behind the pretty light was really hideous. He didn't want to partake in it, which makes total sense. They do. It is. The system here is riddled with truth all over the place.
Everywhere.
But you just are able to ignore it. Part of the reason that you're able to ignore it is cognitive dissonance. And then you have, like, throughout history, different people that in one way or another have been able to see through it. A lot of them have written stories in fiction about it, but they don't, I don't even know if they understand fully what they were writing. I mean, you can even look at what some of the stuff Plato put out,
Oh, Plato's Truth Bomb City.
Yes, the whole.
Isn't that a beauty?
Yeah, a lot of, yeah.
That's like
beauty.
the Godfather horse waking up in the middle. You wake up in the morning and the horse hide is in your bed.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. I mean, it's just incredible. It's right in our face. Anyways, yeah, that's a whole video in and of itself.
Yep. Does anybody have any questions for me? I have to check out in a few minutes.
Oh yeah. Anyone on the panel have questions? We do have a Q&A, a few backed up. So, anyone on the panel before we go to the Q&A?
I guess a quick question would be, since we all cringe at ourselves from 5 years ago or even 3 years ago or whatever, do you foresee any cringe, say, in 5 years from now? I don't.
Yeah, I kind of have reached sort of like this, I guess you could say, plateau. I keep looking to see if there's anything that, I may have been wrong about this or that. But honestly, I'm not, I'm well aware of cognitive dissonance. I make sure I never argue with myself to try to prop something up, but I have not. And a lot of it has caused a little bit of lethargy. Like, I don't feel like it's making, as I was going through the learning experience, I wanted to put out video after video. But then as you get to this kind of level, it's almost a relaxing level, like, okay, I get it. I'll keep checking, see if there's anything new, anything different, anybody out there that can show me something I haven't found before. And if that kind of intrigues me, like I said, that interview with David Hoffman intrigued me because it was a so-called scientist, quote unquote, and what some people consider an authority of something, agreeing basically with the Matrix thing, which I thought was kind of weird. But then again, they're telling us UFOs are real now, so nothing's that crazy. And then, so no, I don't see anything like cringy in the future from what I'm saying now. And I clearly remember, like 8 years ago, 7 years ago, having this internal dilemma with myself because I kept finding information that simply didn't fit, and I was trying to force it to fit. See, I had to have this thing, Jesus has to be real, this and that and the other thing, and I was trying to like shove two things that don't go together. I don't have that conflict right now, so I don't see that either. So I agree with you.
Okay.
Anything else?
Yeah, let me get to the anything. Beza, anything you have to add? Any questions for Dan?
No, I've just been listening. I'm good. I haven't got any questions at all. Thank you, though.
All right, so we'll go to the question and answer in the chat here. Let's see. All right, Feynman's Variety Channel says, how has your truth journey influenced or impacted your mental health and vice versa? Anybody want to take that? Dan or?
I feel free. Even though I'm still like trapped in this system, I don't feel trapped anymore. I feel like, oh, it's just temporary, and eventually I end, and I don't really worry about even the nonsense that goes on around here. One of the great things for me is I don't have to watch the news anymore. I don't have to care about things that they want me to worry about that I don't have any control over here anyway. I don't stress about things like I used to. Oh, this is gonna happen, or this doomsday, or that. Well, I'm like, whatever. If it does happen, I hope I'm taken out, so I don't have to survive any aftermath. So I don't really worry about any of that stuff anymore. It's very liberating. That's all I have to say about it.
Totally with you on that one. Yeah, I mean, it's like, if the whole realm implodes, so be it. I mean, okay, so anyone on the panel want to respond to that? So the question was, how has your truth journey influenced or impacted your mental health and vice versa?
Well, I suppose, like I was saying earlier, I feel more free now, just like Dan said. I feel freer now than I've ever felt. I feel that this information, and not just being introduced to it, but coming to terms of what it actually means, and that we can escape, we can get out. I feel much better.
I love it. Love it. Yeah. Same thing. It's a very liberating feeling to come to terms with, who and what you are, even though, yeah, it may not be the full picture because of our existence, well, related to the meat suit. But the beauty is you can really, it's like this self-realization, self-empowerment beyond words. So anyone who's kind of new or otherwise on the fence about the whole soul trap thing, hang in there, my friend. Do your own research. Don't take our word for it, and go out and research it for yourself. I mean, the truth is everywhere, but experiencer cases really, really reveal a lot. And my hope is that anyone who listening today, regardless of whether you've been listening for a few years or a few days or a few months, doesn't matter. It's all about kind of getting to the point of self-empowerment, where like there's again an unrelenting, deep within you, inner knowing that you'll be okay. You're going to do your own thing, and nothing is going to interfere or step in your way. So Elliot asks, what if I die and refuse to get back to Earth, and God tells you, quote,
No.
you don't want to do what it takes to maintain life? Fine. Your soul will be deleted. Okay. Well, the God thing is, an issue right out the bat. But
Yeah.
Go ahead, true detective. You want to take that one?
I will say that I'm not True Detective, but Phaser. I think that the thing what I've noticed a lot of experiences saying that makes me feel better about things as well is that they say that when they left the body, they felt more alive than they felt when they were in the body. I've heard quite a lot of them saying that once they left. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, yes. People say the reality on the other side is way more real than it is here.
Yeah.
Way more real. But this is like a dull, old 1950s black and white television with grainy picture, and when they hit the other side, they're in 8K resolution. You know, as a comparison, but yeah, and also, I totally don't buy anything can do that. First of all, nothing's going to get a chance to interact with me that level. They're going to get the thought form middle finger from me, and then the other, go ahead. If you can think you can do that, then go ahead. I'm not going to control me anymore. And then the other thing is that this place may be literally more like a game than we think, and at a really, really hard level game where there's a last boss level to get out. And then this is what it takes. And only a few players get out of here. And then there might be a reward for figuring it out. It might be, William Bielman, who has come as close to being somebody big and popular that has pretty much packaged his words in a way where you can kind of see that he may be getting what's really going on, but won't cross a certain line because, he's got a business and books and stuff and seminars. He's even mentioned that in several of his podcasts and interviews where, he said that people that leave the earth realm, they are seen as deities in other places because of the level that you get out of here at. So that could be a thing too.
Like a level of respect or whatever.
Yeah, yes. Like you are somebody that nobody else is going to mess with after this.
Yeah, you actually made it out somehow. And it's like, oh, you went through that nightmare. All right. Yeah, it's crazy, man. Yeah, Bielman is an interesting one. He recently, I think it was a few months back, I would assume the video that I made on him got back to him, and he made like a definitive statement. Oh, we're not in a soul trap and this and that. And if you listen to the damn video that he did, I think it was at Monroe Institute, the one I did the commentary on, he knows. I don't care what anyone says. You listen to his words. You still have like everything being cloaked with the, the love thing and all that. But he is giving you a blueprint, like right in your face that, hey, we're dealing with a mass deception and like we have to kind of transcend this experience. I don't like, there's a number of things I don't like about the approach, but go to the clear light of the void and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, he's someone linked to the Monroe Institute, Bob Monroe, who talked about Loosh and this and that and about, exposed a lot. He's talking about it and essentially saying the same thing that, like, hey, it's like one big fat deception and you need to take back control of you as an individual. But in the same breath, he's posting statements on Facebook that, or wherever it was, shitting on the soul trap. I mean, it's kind of mind blowing, but yeah, I think I learned a lot from him. I think he's a invaluable resource, William Bielman. But he doesn't. It's like almost like an emotional jerk reaction that kind of came out of him saying, oh, well, we're not in a soul trap, or, we're not in a reincarnation trap, and blah, 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 blah. But yet everything that he states, especially in that conference that he did with the Monroe Institute and in his book that he co-authored with his wife, for Christ's sake, I mean, he's laying it all out there. He's telling you that you need to take back control of you and think bigger, think beyond all this. And that's really a key of what I talk about here. It's like, you got to think bigger. You got to think beyond this matrix, got to think beyond the meat suit, beyond the human way of thinking. And say, hey, you know, I've existed before, not just in here, but I've existed outside of here. What was I doing? I don't know. Nobody knows because we've been memory wiped. But there is a lot to look forward to. There's a lot to rediscover, and I think it's sad because I think to buy his books, to listen to his lectures, you can clearly see he knows what's up, but at the same time, he makes a definitive type statement that covers up things. And just by the mere fact of being linked to the Monroe Institute is an issue in and of itself, for as much good and helpful realizations that someone can come to. It bothers me. That's all. I guess I'll leave it at that. Okay, so the Rollman says, have you analyzed Dr. Stephen Greer's NDE yet? I only ask because of this UFO study recently making the headlines. His name is popping up again. Could give a good push to the channel. Well, I mean, I didn't even know Greer had an NDE. The only thing I'll say about him, well, actually, there's a few things I'll say. As far as with Greer, you know, he was kind of a big part of my early journey. Not gonna lie, I mean, I learned, his stuff about. And I'm not promoting him. I'm just gonna say that flat out. He was a big part of my journey. I mean, I realized about the intention and orbs and interacting with this reality in a way that I didn't at the time think was possible. But in the same breath, this is very important to say this. You know, he has like he calls them the CE5 protocols. I think it's really important to say that the protocols are bullshit. They mean nothing. Everything boils down to intention. You can go outside your door tonight or over the next few nights and apply your intention to interact with things like orbs or UAPs or UFOs, whatever you want to call them. All right. And I'm not talking about space aliens. I'm just talking about something you can interact with via your intention. I learned that from him years ago and it worked. All right. So as much as, I think he puts on a big grand production and a show for consumption on the internet. If you weed through some of what he's talked about, there is some value there, and that in the value at the end of the day, it's like, okay, I'll just say it right now, you don't have to listen to anything he says. I'll tell you right now, your intention is everything. Just like your intention is everything in the afterlife or going outside the body. And you can have amazing, incredible experiences out in the sky or at ground level. And you can do some amazing things. I will say, I had and some of these videos are available on the channel. I mean, there's a number of them still out there, but if you check out the YouTube channel and Odysee and Rumble, I mean, they're all there, or at least a good portion of them are there. And like, again, like I realized the power of our intention, but like he has like this whole rigmarole. Like, you need to follow this, you need to follow that, like you need to do these certain things. But anyone who spends serious time with interacting with orbs and summoning and interacting with the sky and all that stuff, and I know that may sound out there for some of you listening, but these are things you can go outside and prove to yourself by using your intention, and having amazing experiences. Some of them may be, very minimal or kind of dull or lame in the beginning, but once you connect, once you realize that your intention can intermingle with this reality that we all find ourselves in a big way, it'll blow your mind. It will blow your mind. In the beginning, when I was following like his protocols, and I'm telling you, if I followed them, like, in a way, I was like, okay, I started to get experiences and feedback, when interacting outside in the sky with orbs and whatever have you. And then there came a point where I realized, okay, everything is intention. I don't need to do, Greer's list of protocols. It's completely unnecessary. Everything that you can do is within you. And you can interact with the sky, you can interact with orbs, you can interact with things that, look like UFOs or like motherships, or, I mean, all sorts of crazy shit. And you just have to put in the time. Now that's where kind of everything kind of comes to a head. It's like you have to really put in the time and the intention. But you don't need to be vegan. Excuse me. You don't need to be vegan. You don't need to do this or that. Your intention just needs to be there on a point in the sky. Or there was one thing, and I think I showed the video on the channel a few times, where this took me 2 weeks. I had an intention in my front yard. There's like a light pole, all right? And my intention was for an orb to touch the tip of a light pole. Of the light pole in the front yard, and I set up, a chair. I brought up my bottle of water, or my thermos with water, and I worked on this for about a few weeks. All right, and I would see orbs, I would see all sorts of crazy shit in the sky, but my intention was unrelenting to have an orb touch the tip of the light pole in my front yard. And that's exactly what happened. I was looking across the street and I saw an orb coming in, and it, slowly came in and then touched the tip of the light pole and then went over the back of my roof. There's video of it. I've shared it on the channel. I can't tell you where to find it or anything like that, but I show proof of that moment because I was filming and determined to see just how deep our intention can impact things. And I'm telling you, it's monstrous. I mean, so this was a whole nother thing that related to the afterlife and all that research. It really proved that, yes, we are creator beings. We can use our intention for amazing experiences, amazing things in general, to take back control of us. And that small thing is something I experienced, and I owe it to Stephen Greer for letting me know that those things were accessible and we are capable of it. But the whole process of the CE5 protocols, all that, it's complete bullshit. It's unnecessary filler. It's wasting your time. All you got to do is go outside, use your intention, and don't get discouraged. There's been a number of videos shared on this channel. You'll find them under the videos tab. Not the live channel, not the live tab, but the video tab. And if you scroll back and sort by oldest, you'll see a ton of different stuff that I've shared. And some of that is because of Stephen Greer. Now, I'm not promoting him. I don't promote him in the least. I think, in fact, he's an agent. You want me to be completely truthful. But at the end of the day, everyone kind of needs to do their own thing. And I'm sorry, I kind of went on a tangent there, but I've never heard his NDE. I didn't even know he had an NDE. I would have, is this something new? Makes me wonder because this is not something I was aware of. Anyone on the panel aware that he had an NDE? Is this recent, or because I think I would have heard about it at least a few years back?
Hey, Mark.
Yeah,
I even watched these recent documentaries. I agree. There's some useless procedures, again, rituals. None of that stuff is necessary. It just adds complication to what's simple. But didn't know he had an NDE. No, I didn't know that. I do have to get going, unfortunately. So I will be leaving now. I want to thank everybody for inviting. Thank Mark for inviting me, and True Detective and Faiza. Thanks for joining. I appreciated your comments and your insights, and I can tell that you're both, also very intelligent. So keep up the good research there. Thank you, Mark. Thanks for everything. Thanks everybody. Yeah, thanks for inviting me. I'm glad to join in any time in the future when I can.
All right, brother. You have a good rest of your evening, and thanks for stopping by. Always great to have you.
Yep, I will be tuning in later and skipping forward and seeing what else you talked about. I'm sure it'll be fascinating.
All right, man. We'll see you soon. Thanks for stopping by tonight.
Thanks.
Thank you, Dan. It was great talking to you.
Yeah, it was very great talking to you
Thanks,
too.
Dan. Night.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thanks.
Terry said Greer's NDE supposedly happened when he was 17. Greer's NDE happened when he was 17. You got to be kidding me. I never heard of anything about that. So that's complete news to me, unless he just decided to share it recently. All right, we got a few more questions, I think. Any of you, anyone on the panel, True Detective or Faiza, any of you happen to have experiences with Greer's CE5 protocols? Just out of curiosity.
I myself have never gone through a Greer phase. I know of him. I never looked into him, so I can't say that I have. I have had incidents of things I've seen in the sky, but never anything to do with his protocol or whatever.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. All right, so the other question I have, let's see, there's only a few more. We have Jane asks, why don't occultists talk about the soul trap more? What role, if any, does the occult play in this realm? Ooh, that's a deep question. Any of you want to take that?
I mean, the occult, when I think of the occult, obviously we know that it means hidden, but I don't know if the person who put that question forth, does she mean the so-called elite occult?
Yeah, I think ritual based occult practice,
Okay.
you know, ritual practices.
Okay, so that could apply to just anybody. Honestly, my first instinct is they don't know about it. They just don't know. As for any of the so-called elites, they might know, but they're certainly not going to reveal it. Or even they might not know, but they have some sort of agreement with the power structure on the other side. Is my instinct.
Sure. Yeah, it's yeah, I okay, so it's kind of like a deep question. Kind of my thoughts on how when we're talking about the occult, yeah, I mean the definition is, hidden, suppressed, however you want to frame it. But that kind of simplifies it because we have, occult rituals, occult practices. Your everyday ABC religion can fall under that same paradigm, I guess. And so what I think happens is like, okay, so I've talked about this a little bit on the channel. You have a few different things going on. You have the, everyday kind of ritual sideshow going on. And then you also have like an elevated perspective on everything. And that those are the beings or the entities or the NPCs that kind of run this place. I think anyone who is advertised in the Matrix and has a name attached to them is not in the know as much as they may think they're in the know. So I think you have like the baseline, the Chuck Schumers, the Donald Trumps, the Joe Bidens, the Rothschilds. You have all those types of names out there, all right? And they have a clear link in the system, but they are strictly for public consumption. All right, they do rituals. They are knee deep in ritualistic behavior. I mean, like they prove that to us consistently. But with that being said, you also have a group behind them that none of us will ever know. All right. And I think those are at least the real time controllers within the context of the physical experience, not the astral, but the nameless ones who are linked to the other, the faces that we do see. The nameless, faceless ones, I think what they do is they literally interact with the mainframe. I mean, this is the best way to put it. The mainframe of the Matrix. And that involves ritualistic behavior. That involves human and animal sacrifice in order to please it. One of the biggest things is human and animal sacrifice. I mean, it's consistent, and it perverses many cultures over many eons, however many eons even exist, at least for what we have on record. It's a common narrative that pops up over and over again. It's like it's like these weirdos, these freaks need to sacrifice in order to please the mainframe of the Matrix computer, which is loosh up front and center in your face with a big flashing, red light saying, this is me, loosh, loosh, loosh. Okay. So I think what's going on is that you have, again, two subsets of individuals or groups interacting with the mainframe. Some know what's going on, some don't. But I think most do not know the actual big picture of what's going on. And that's the soul trap, right? I think if you, and this kind of, I mean, this kind of ducktails off into to a few other narratives. Like, so if you have NPCs running the show, it's either one of the two. And when you really look at it, it makes no difference. You have two subsets of classification involved. You have the someone who has an essence but is completely jaded and so far gone and born into bloodlines that they can't, they think the physical reality is everything, or they think that the interaction with the etheric is, you know, honoring quote unquote God or whatever the case may be, even though it's like a machine. And then you have another subset of personalities who are true essence beings doing their thing and just follow orders. And they may not know how deep this deception goes. So I think when you boil it down to everything, if I had to guess, you probably have a family or two, or maybe, you know, half a dozen families involved who offer tributes to the Matrix system that are, again, these are names, faces that we have no idea who they are, but they exist behind the scenes and they're pulling the puppet strings. But even them, they themselves have absolutely no say in what's going on. They're doing as they're told, or they're brainwashed into doing as they're told, or they're flat out NPCs. All right. You know, spiritless, soulless, you know, essence, you know, essence free beings every step of the way. And they communicate with the mainframe of the Matrix computer or the Matrix AI, or however you want to, again, however you want to look at it. And they pass down orders accordingly and do as they're told. So then that triggers, that kind of funnels down to us as human beings within the system through things like government, corporations, sports, media, and on and on and on. So I know I kind of went off a little bit there, but I think they're heavily involved with ritualistic occult activity, not necessarily, you know, the mainstream definition, which is just means hidden, but, you know, ritualistic practices that are tributes to the Matrix system. So that's kind of the best way I can approach it. But again, these are names that we'll never know. We just won't. Purpose says, hello. What are your thoughts on NPCs? I kind of talked about that in the beginning of the stream. I think we have, again, two different things going on. We have those who are completely, okay, so they have a spirit essence within them, and they do their thing. And then you have, but they're lost. And then you have another subset of beings who are literal NPCs. They lack spirit, they lack essence, and are just automatons, literal automatons that, you know, make their way through this realm and usually cause issues for the groups of humans who are below them. All right, so that's us, right? I mean, it could be, oh, your electricity will be shut off, or there's going to be an EMP, or or you gotta, put the thing over your face, the diaper. I mean, all those types of things. And some can be knowing and unknowing participants. I don't think the unknowing category is too high. I just don't. I think it's most are in a trance. They're completely far gone. You got to remember that they have a meat suit too, doing their own thing and propelling the matrix narratives, because that's what they're supposed to do. Now, whether they have an essence or not really makes no difference. I mean, when you look at it from this perspective, it's like if you have someone who lacks essence and then you have someone who has essence but is completely lost and gone, what does it really matter? I mean, the end result is still going to be the same. They're going to follow orders, do as they're told, and it's going to trickle down into humanity and our countries, wherever you may live. So really, in the grand scheme of things, none of this matters. It doesn't matter whether they lack essence or they have essence and are just completely jaded and lost in their bloodlines. It makes no difference because the outcome is still clearly the same. I mean, we lived through it. So it's almost like these are technicalities that we view things at. And so it really doesn't help us, I guess, is the best way to look at it. But I my gut says we're dealing with those two types of classes of individuals. Some who are involved with the bloodlines, and they either have essence or they don't. But I think we're dealing with multiple ends of the spectrum. And even if, let's say, someone in the bloodline has essence and does wake up, I don't think it's going to matter. I don't think it's going to matter because, they're clearly not going to be able to connect with you or I, or if they do, they're going to connect on a minimal level. They're going to connect on a level that doesn't result in change. So it's again, like, looking at it, it really doesn't matter whether they're literal NPCs lacking essence, or whether they're entities born into a bloodline and they have an essence but are completely jaded and brought up in a parasitic family. If the result means stomping on humanity, in the grand scheme of things, it really means nothing. That's how I look at it. I mean, if the results are the same and lives aren't improving, and there are still homeless people out there, and children and mothers and families that are not getting the proper nutrition, or if they're getting nutrition, it's got all sorts of toxins in them, what difference does it really make? It makes nothing. It's the same thing. Anyways, I kind of went on a rant. True Detective or Fiza, anything to add?
I mean, you covered that extremely well. I couldn't possibly add anything.
I feel the same. Why did it all go so quiet?
You still there, Marco?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
sorry, I was talking and I had myself muted. I was kind of just saying, like, it's if you look at, both sides of the spectrum, whether they're literal NPCs lacking essence or whether they're beings who have essence but are completely jaded and lost in this existence, it really makes no difference at the end of the day, because it's the same outcome. Like, oh, just because someone has an essence but it's still jaded, like, as if anything's going to change. I mean, it's clear that it doesn't. Nothing changes for the betterment of humanity overall. And that's, in my opinion, kind of proven. It's, but, I don't want to be a downer. I really don't. I just want to talk turkey. It's like, regardless of whether we're dealing with a mass onslaught of NPCs or mass onslaught of NPCs that are controlling the place or propping up the place versus those who are lost, it makes no difference. The result's the same.
$100.
Okay, so yeah, the whole NPC thing, prepper, hope that kind of helped. Jane has the final question of the day. Says, do you still live by a life script after waking up to this deception? Okay, so I think that's a great question. That's something I talked about a little bit on the channel. I think what happens is, until someone reaches kind of a self-awareness or realization, I guess, about who and what they are, it's almost like we're on autopilot. I mean, I look back at my childhood, early adulthood, and I am telling you, I was the walking epitome of, like, NPC type behavior. And that's what really makes things difficult. It really, like, I don't like judging others, because I look back at myself and I realize what a freaking loser I was. Just like a rule follower. And this, I mean, I'm not saying I didn't break the rules, but I mean, but I was really like, I believed in many, many things that this realm was presenting to me. And I look back at it and it cringes the shit out of me. But as far as the life script goes, I feel there's like a tipping point. I feel like until you, I mean, really, it's like the truest sense of the word is self-realization. Like, until you realize who and what you are, I feel like it's very, very difficult to veer off from the script, from the life script. Okay, Jane? So that doesn't mean that, we still may not do things that are kind of life scripty, or maybe have some certain like path before us, but never in my life have I felt more control than I do now. And I think it's everything kind of is, again, boils down to the individual feeling. And oh, we're getting some feedback here. Hold on. Okay, Beza, we're getting a little bit of feedback, but it's not as bad. Anyways, that's okay. Anyways, I think, I think, I look back at my life and it was total NPC behavior for quite a while. And I think once you reach a level of self-realization, you can divert from your life script. I mean, I think this world reveals itself, or this realm reveals itself in many, many ways once you really wake up and see the deception. Like, when you see it for an illusion, There was a time I've talked about this, like, I was in a deep, deep meditation in an old house that I lived in the backyard on a deck, and I set up a meditation pyramid and a meditation cushion, and but or not even a cushion, but like a if you went camping, like a meditation, not a meditation, but like a blow up bed almost, but a very, very skinny one, small, like twin size. I laid it underneath the pyramid, and I saw a what can only be described as like a grid like pattern in the sky. Now I don't know what the hell that meant. It felt like and others have seen it too, so I'm not the only one, but I don't know what that means. But I was waking up at the time. Like I was going through the process of realizing who and what I am. And it was very formative, and I was having all sorts of other weird experiences and things crushing my previously conceived paradigms and destroying them every step of the way. And I don't know how else to describe it, because I think we all have to experience it for ourselves. But I think once you kind of come to this self-realization moment, I guess, you're able to control things a lot better. Like things that may have led you somewhere or wanted you to kind of go in a certain direction are not as easily influential as they may have been when you were asleep. So I hope that kind of makes sense. Any of you kind of relate to that, True Detective Beza?
Oh yeah, I mean, I can relate, especially, the way you described your upbringing, or just as a young person or young adult. I was quite the NPC as well. I wouldn't say that I was fitting in, because I was always kind of an oddball anyway, but
Same.
from a very young age, I knew something was wrong. I just didn't know what it was. And so I did live my life as pretty much an NPC and just went along because I didn't know what else to do. Today, as far as my life script, occasionally I'll try something like do the opposite of what I would normally do, or some little things, just to kind of throw a wrench in it, just to like a little experiment. Heck, you can even do it if it comes to big decisions sometimes. I mean, if you've always wanted to become a plumber, instead of becoming a plumber, you do something that you would never consider, like, I don't know, something that has nothing to do with plumbing. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Throwing a wrench into life, just as little experiments or big experiments, as long as it's not something that's going to be harmful to yourself or others, just to see what the life script, how it reacts. It's probably might be a fun thing to try.
I think that's amazing advice, and I completely agree, because living life unexpectedly, like diverting and doing something spontaneous, does seem to just open up weird doors. Like, it's like the Matrix isn't expecting it, so you do something, you react in a different way that is not on par for the life script or whatever you want to call it, and then boom, it's like things just react differently. I mean, I really think that's an incredible way to look at it, because I completely agree.
How about you, Roxana?
I don't really know what to say.
Okay.
I don't really know what to say. Sorry.
No worries. Okay, so I think we're pretty close to wrapping things up here. The we'll be going live on the gaming channel after this, and I just want to remind anyone who's a member or considering joining the membership, we will be having the monthly members live stream for the Last Timers Club tomorrow, Sunday, July 30th, 2023 at 7 p.m., 7:30 p.m. Eastern, somewhere around there. And we'll be going over childhood reincarnation stories. So I got an interesting one for you, and there's also a backlog of other members' videos for anyone interested in potentially joining. And I look forward to seeing some of you then. And there's also, if you'd like to contribute to the channel, there's a Stripe or a Stream Elements link. And there's also there's a YouTube backup channel, the Truth in Gaming channel, which is where we'll be headed right after this. And as soon as the stream concludes, we'll probably be starting about 10 or 15 minutes afterwards. I'm going to leave that link here. I also did create a couple new Rumble channels, which one is the Truth in Gaming channel, which isn't going to be live tonight, but there's also Laughing at the Matrix channel. So if you want like some lighthearted, if you want to come and join and have some fun together, and not take things as seriously, I think it's going to be a fun time. I really do. And those links are available in the description tab. So anyways, trying to get this up here for you all. I also have a Twitter and Instagram, and also do one-on-one sessions for anyone interested in having a one-on-one session and wants to talk. Your support's always appreciated but never expected. I want to say hello to Jasper the Cat and Roiling Water over on Odysee, and also to those on Rumble. I did lose the chat, unfortunately, on Rumble, but I hope you're enjoying the stream, and of course everyone on YouTube. It's been fun, and so yeah, I'm going to take a little bit of a break, and I'm going to drop the link really quickly before we head out for anyone interested in joining the Wild Eternal. Can you escape reincarnation? I'm going to drop that link in the chat right now. Wild
Hopefully.
Eternal. Can I'm hearing myself. Okay, so thank you, everybody. I want to thank True Detective. I want to thank Faiza. I'm sorry if I keep butchering your name.
It's
or
okay.
Roxanne.
Yeah, Roxana will be fine. Phaser, whatever. I'm really looking forward to tomorrow's stream, actually. There's like the first book I ever read about reincarnation was when I was a child myself, and it was called The Children That Time Forgot. And that was a really good book. Like, I read it when I was older as well. But so I'm quite looking forward to tomorrow's stream.
Yeah, we're gonna be going pretty deep into stuff. So look forward to seeing you there as well. And thanks for coming on panel, both of you. I really appreciate it. And I want to thank Dan as well for stopping by today. And we will see each other again soon. I'll see over some of you on the gaming channel in about 10-15 minutes.
Cool. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, my friends.
And everybody hit that thumbs up. It helps the algorithm.
Yes, it does.
Woo.
Yes, it really does. Hitting thumbs up and even commenting or, hitting thumbs up on the community posts, all those small things help the channel a lot. So thank you. Appreciate that. All right.
Take care, everybody.
Thank you.
You too. Take care. Thank you. How do we leave?